A lot of rappers come from the streets and write bars about all the work they put in, but not all of them are really about that life. And today we're taking a look at the biggest artists in the game who have been accused of snitching. 03 Greo came up in a hood called Watson, LA and started banging Grape Street Crip. His dad was allegedly one of the very first Crips and was tight with the gang's founder, Tookie Williams. But he was killed in a motorcycle accident when Greo was just a kid. Greo tried to avoid the streets for a long time, but after his mom kicked him out of the house and he had a kid at 17, Greo hopped in the trenches and got active. He started dropping music all the way back in 2010, but going in and out of jail constantly made it hard for him to build a buzz. In 2016, he got caught with a homie moving 4 pounds of meth through Texas. While he was out on bond, Greo decided to go as hard as possible with the music and get his bread up. His Purple Summer mixtapes popped off and put him on the map. The hard work finally paid off, and in 2017, he signed a $1 million contract with Alamo Records. Greo was blowing up after 7 years of grinding in the rap game, but then in 2018, he pleaded guilty to his charges and got hit with a 20-year sentence. He tried to get an early release, but was denied in 2020 and 2021. Then last year, the news broke that he was eligible for parole after he completed a pre-release program, and in January 2023, he finally came back home. Fans couldn't wait for Greo to hop back in the booth and start dropping new music, but the drama was just beginning. A YouTuber named 1090 Jake released a video back in July and brought up some alleged paperwork that proves Greo made some statements to the police when he got arrested. According to the paperwork that some Grape Street Crips allegedly gave Jake, Greo started talking in the back of the police cruiser where they had microphones and said, "Damn bro, we slipped up. We fucked up really, but we can't talk in here. We messed it up." Another alleged document has Greo's statement he made to the DEA where he told him that he was paid $3K to ride with his co-defendant to Texas and said that he thought something illegal might be going down, but he didn't want to know any details. Right after 1090 Jake's video came out, Greo hopped on social media to clear his name.
My hood ain't mad at me. You know I did 5.
Greo even brought his co-defendant on No Jumper with him to clear up the rumors. According to him,
his team contacted the lawyer that I hired to help me. Why the fuck would his team be helping me if I told on him?
Then 1090 Jake went on No Jumper 2 and the situation got even more complicated.
I sent in a request for the paperwork, and I got it all, 26 pages. And it's pretty much the exact same thing that was sent to me by the other Grapes.
A paralegal named Katie Quack hopped in to defend Greo after the snitching rumor started spreading. She said that Greo had a gun to his head for 11 minutes during the arrest and that it was a bad stop in the first place. She called out 1090 Jake and is allegedly even trying to sue him for defamation over the video he made about Greo's situation. So Jake aired her out on No Jumper 2.
Katie was the paralegal because her father is one of the biggest lawyers in Texas. So Katie, like you know, shot a homeless man.
Right.
For getting too close to a Porsche or whatever it was, got an attempted murder charge, and I'm assuming because of her father, ended up with probation.
The whole situation is pretty weird and complicated, but at the end of the day, it seems like Greo might have talked a little too much, but wasn't really trying to throw his homie under the bus or anything like that. And if the dude he allegedly told on is willing to do interviews with him side by side, obviously he's not too pressed about the situation. 03 Greo ain't the only rapper 1090 Jake is exposed for allegedly snitching though. And this next artist even got taken off of a tour with Future after his paperwork came out. Real Boston Richie only started dropping music a couple years ago in 2021 after his cousin died in the streets and his homies convinced him to hop in the booth. It ain't take long for him to pick up a buzz in the industry though. And last year he scored a huge win after Future signed him to his free bands label. Boston Richie was popping off and racking up millions of streams with features from massive artists like Lil Durk and Kodak Black. But now his career hit a roadblock after some snitching rumors got put on his name. 6ix9ine is one of the most famous snitches in the rap game, and he claims Richie did the same thing and even posted some paperwork to prove it. According to the documents, Richie was speaking about a dude involved in a murder case and identified the subject that had threatened as a young black male with the street name Wig. The paperwork said Richie identified Wig in a photograph and told him that Wig threatened him and acted as if he had a handgun in his waistband. Telling in one case is a bad look for a street rapper like Richie. But then 1090 Jake exposed some new paperwork and claimed that Richie also made a statement in a Grand Theft Auto case back in 2013. Just before the snitching rumor started going around, Richie had been taken off of Future's new tour. Everyone started saying that Future dropped him over the accusations, but Richie said he took himself off the tour so he could focus on finishing his album. He also said the paperwork was misleading and that he never actually told on anyone. According to Richie, all he told the cops is that his homies in the whip ain't even know it was stolen. He made it sound like he was trying to take all the blame himself, and his homie Coley, who was also wrapped up in the case, backed this story up. Coley told Say Cheese TV that the paperwork never caused any issues in the city because everyone knew what was up with the situation. 1090 Jake wasn't happy with the explanation though and kept on digging, and what he came out with next shocked everyone. He found a police interrogation tape with Richie talking to the cops for over 45 minutes. In the police interview, Richie talks about Wig running down on him, his cousin Slug getting murdered, and even name-dropped an alleged shooter. It's a crazy video that a lot of people thought confirmed the snitching rumors, but Richie's still trying to defend his name. Back in June, he went on the Big Facts podcast to air out the whole situation. According to him,
so when I went to jail, I went straight to the TPD station. I went for an interview type shit. So it was one of those situations like a motherfucker pressuring me by the person I really ain't. You gotta think about like at that time I really ain't even know he had nothing to do with my cousin being killed. I'm the nigga that helped him out of the case. Like, bro, any nigga right now, the nigga that got killed, charged for killing my cousin, bro. That nigga, bro, he won't even get on the phone to tell you I snitched.
Richie admitted that he talks about Wiggs to the police because they had an incident back in the day, but he actually told him he had nothing to do with his cousin's murder because back then he really had no idea he was involved. When Jade from Big Facts asked him about all the name dropping, Richie said,
the people that was in that interview, like I could bring up the witness list right now. I don't even know them people. None of them was in no interview. None of them was on the witness list. No charged people, bro. Like, that's why I can say me as a person going wrong, like I was a jit.
But according to 1090 Jake, that's not the only evidence that Richie told. Jake went on DJ Academic's live stream and revealed that the other co-defendant in the Grand Theft Auto case actually got convicted, which Richie said never happened.
The other person that he told on didn't get the charges dropped like Boston Richie said, didn't beat the case like Boston Richie said. He was arrested and convicted.
He also claimed that the dude told him Richie and his people was trying to pay him to come out and say Richie ain't snitched.
Because the fucking co-defendant that Boston Richie told on reached out to me and told me that his people are trying to pay him to say he didn't tell on him.
According to Jake, everyone in the area knew Richie was telling, but they just wanted to settle it themselves instead of airing it all out on the internet.
One of the co-defendants reached out to me and was like, yeah, he told on me, but you know how the city go. People ain't gonna care, whatever. He's DMing me all this shit. And then he goes on Say Cheese and does an interview saying, no, he ain't tell.
All the drama definitely hurt Richie's credibility, but it's also affecting his career. Before all of this started, he was running up millions of streams and looking like he was about to really blow up. But he just dropped an album and none of the tracks have even hit 500K. Richie's momentum slowing down is tough. But this next artist probably won't even have a career by the time he's done with his sentence. Kasan NOA came up repping a blood set called the Untouchable Gorilla Stone Nation and has been in and out of prison since 2003. He even met A$AP Rocky while they was both on Rikers Island. And in 2016, Kasan NOA hopped in the booth and started popping off in the rap game too. He had beef with Troy Ave, and Troy's the first one who exposed him for allegedly snitching. On the track Richer Than My Haters, Troy Ave rapped, Kasan NOA crying folks, he just setting up stage to tell. How the fuck you crying broke with just 90 days in the cell? You sold your soul for protection, they ain't protect you too swell. Damn Caswell, you the blood they extort on. This occurrence is classic like the boy you told on. Don't make me retrieve the paperwork that you wrote on. Then Troy Ave posted paperwork from when Kasan NOA allegedly snitched on his homie Classic. It's not clear if Kasan NOA actually flipped or not, but someone in his crew definitely told on him, and now he's behind bars again for 15 years. In 2020, the feds brought down a RICO case against the Untouchable Gorilla Stones and booked Kasan NOA and 17 other dudes. Somebody on the inside was giving them info about Cass, and they told the cops about him carrying a gun, shooting at a poker game, and receiving large quantities of marijuana. Cass basically had no choice but to plead guilty after his homie started turning on him. And back in June, the judge hit him with 15 years and 8 months in prison. G Herbo came up in Chicago with his childhood homie Lil Bibby. They popped off at the same time when they dropped the track Kill Shit together and ran up millions of views on YouTube. Then both of them went crazy with their solo careers too and became two of the hottest rappers in the city. They was both active in the streets, but after they blew up, it seemed like they had left it all behind. Bibby started his own label and signed Juice WRLD, while Herbo started working with massive artists like Nicki Minaj and Chance the Rapper. In 2018, Herbo caught a weapons charge after his limo driver called the cops on him. He got off easy with 2 years of probation, but now he's facing real time behind bars and snitching allegations at the same time. In December 2020, Herbo, his manager T Glow, and some other dudes was all booked on a federal indictment for wire fraud and identity theft. According to the cops, Herbo and the other guys used stolen identities to pay for luxury rental cars, private jet flights, and even some Yorkie puppies worth $10K. After the charges came down, Herbo dropped a track statement and raps, I ain't lying, they was winning till we started spinning back. But anyways, said enough of that. Let's talk about this paper. Let's talk about them jets. Yeah, let's talk about Jamaica. Ask about me. I ain't never been a fraud. I went hard from the start. In my city, I'm a god, motherfucker. If you know, you know. Never been no phony though. catching the case was bad. But then Herbo's homie, Ami and the Hellcat hopped on Instagram and accused him of talking to the feds. Ami claimed that Herbo threw him under the bus and that Herb was mad about a woman they was both hooking up with. Herbo never even spoke on the rumors though, and Ami never put up any evidence that Herbo actually told. In July, Herbo pleaded guilty to wire fraud and had the identity theft charges dropped. Then just a couple of days after the news broke, he hopped on IG and took a subliminal shot at Gunna for allegedly snitching on Young Thug and said, "I know phone them won't tell on me like niggas told on Thug." Hopefully he's right, cause right now Herbo's expecting a 5-year sentence in the fraud case. His sentencing is scheduled for November, so we'll know more about the whole case then. But for right now, there's no real evidence that he told on anyone. Young Thug and his YSL crew getting hit with a RICO indictment was some of the most shocking news in the rap game. Having a superstar like Thug facing decades in prison is wild, but one of the craziest parts of the story is that his homie Gunna copped a plea deal and allegedly snitched. Gunna took an Alfred plea because he wasn't admitting to any crimes, but he thought the police had enough evidence to convict him anyways. And after he got out of jail, Gunna told fans that he didn't make any statements, have an interview, or agree to testify. That wasn't the end of it though. Later, a video leaked where Gunna was being interviewed by a prosecutor and told him that YSL was a gang. They also brought up the time he was in a car with Thug and the cops found drugs in a burner. Gunna told him they weren't his, which is basically the same thing as telling them they were thugs since Gunna and Thug was the only two dudes in the whip. Back in June, Gunna dropped a new album and talks about the whole situation. On the track I Was Just Thinking, he rapped, "That's 4 walls talking to you, telling you gone. Only I done cry cause it's feeling for my bro. And you know my mind, you done watch that nigga grow. I know you hear the lies, that's your little brother my foe. Yeah, I had popped out, but don't let him say I told." Then on Rodeo Drive, Gunna sent shots at people spreading the snitching rumors and said, "I know you heard I've been pulling up, pressing these niggas who claiming I ratted. And been on the yacht with my motherfucking shirt off, look at it, my whole body tatted." And on Bread and Butter, he raps, "Never fucked a nigga, always stayed solid. Kept it real with niggas, never lied and always stay honest. Love my bro so much, I never change on them. I'm the one to go and do the work, bring you the damn profits." On the same track, Gunna allegedly sent shots at Lil Baby. Baby and Gunna was always tight, but after the snitching accusations came out, Baby unfollowed him on social media. Baby signed to Pierre Thomas's Quality Control Records, and Pierre has his own snitching allegations against him over a murder. And Gunna allegedly aired him out with the line, "Peeping shit, I'm seeing niggas fall back. You bitch ass niggas got me as the topic of the chat. You switched on me when you know you in business with the rat. And the boy that's like your brother, ain't nobody speak on that." Gunna's still claiming he never flipped, but Thug allegedly sent a shot at him when he dropped his new album from prison. On the track Jonesboro, he raps, "Street nigga with a bunch of lives like a tigger. Y'all niggas just a bunch of dykes fucking niggas. Nigga told him he was my homie, I can't miss him. Ain't nobody feel him." It wasn't a direct shot, it was probably recorded before Thug even caught the RICO charges, but that ain't stopped the rumors from going crazy about the line being aimed at Gunna. But he ain't the only one who allegedly flipped on Thug in this case. Yak Gotti grew up in Atlanta and has known Thug since they was little kids. Eventually they made it into the rap game, but back in the day he was in the streets heavy and even beat a murder charge. After surviving getting shot 5 times, Yak hopped in the booth and started taking music seriously. He linked up with Young Thug and it looked like he was about to blow up. But then Yak caught a weapon charge and spent half a decade in prison. He came out in 2020 and was ready to go hard in the rap game. But now he's caught up in the YSL RICO case and has allegedly flipped on his homie YSL Duke. The RICO indictment charged Gotti and Duke with conspiracy to commit murder because they allegedly slid into Opps territory with a Draco and a 40 cal pistol with the intent to cause the death of another human being in retaliation for a prior shooting. Some paperwork came out that said Gotti told the police the rifle was his and that he gave it to Duke so they could retaliate against a rival gang who beat him up. Gotti hopped on social media immediately to squash the snitching rumors and said that Duke never spent a day in jail because he claimed his own work and did 4 years in prison for it. He even rapped about this case back in 2020 on the track Free to Go and said, "Don't fuck with these niggas cause they facade. Riding with Lil Duke and I took the charge. I was facing life and I beat the odds. I just came back, they like, shorty you hard." A local reporter named George Chidi also hopped in to clear the situation up. He's been covering the whole YSL case and said that Yak pleaded guilty in 2015 after Duke and him was both caught with guns, which doesn't mean he snitched. Yak tried getting out on bond, but the judge shot it down after he was caught using illegal cell phones in jail. According to the prosecution, Yak was making calls to the outside and telling people to destroy a bunch of burner phones, but the police got to him first. Facing the charges is bad enough, but a few months after the snitching rumors came out, someone allegedly tried to kill Yak on the inside. Back in October 2022, his mom reported that Yak was almost stabbed in the Fulton County jail. It's not clear if it was about the alleged snitching or not, but if Yak really was working with the police, they probably would be protecting him better than that. That's not the only drama he has going on with the case though. Back in January, his own mom was arrested after she tried to sneak tobacco to him. Plus, the cops are using his own lyrics against him in court, like on the track Take It to Trial when he raps, "For the slimes, you know I kill. Trial, I done beat it twice. State, I'm defeated like. Feds came and snatched me? I don't know, no point asking. I was on Cleveland, stuck like a magnet. Bitch ass nigga, I'll shoot your mammy." Pleading guilty to a gun case is one thing, but Yak Gotti's facing a murder charge for allegedly helping kill YFN Lucci's manager, Big Nut. Nobody knows if he's working with the cops or not yet, but he could really get Thug jammed up if he decides to flip. But even if Yak is holding it down, this next dude snitched on Thug so hard that even Charleston White gave him props for it. For a long time, everyone thought the war in Atlanta between Thug's YSL crew and YFN Lucci started because some YSL affiliates took out Lucci's homie Big Nut in 2015. But it turns out that a dude named YSL Woody is the real reason it all started. Last year, 1090 Jake posted paperwork that proves Woody was there when the whole situation kicked off. Nut and Lucci are both affiliated with the Inglewood family Bloods, and 5 days before Nut was killed, another Inglewood affiliate named Kelvin Watts assaulted and tried to rob Lil Woody at a club. According to the police, YSL wanted payback for what happened to Woody. 5 days later, they got their get back by taking out Big Nut, and this is how it all allegedly went down. YSL ain't want to use one of their own whips in a drive-by, so a few days before the shooting happened, Thug rented a car. He's the one who spotted Nut standing outside of a barbershop, and 4 YSL affiliates named SB, Scarface, Nard, and Yak Gotti was the ones who rode through and killed him. After it went down, Woody met them in the McDonald's parking lot because he was picking up Scarface. And when Scarface got in the whip, he told Woody that they just killed Big Nut. Then just a few hours later, the house where Woody's girlfriend's parents lived was shot up. And a few hours after that, the Opps tried to slide on Woody's brother's house but got the wrong address and shot up his neighbor's crib instead. After they realized they sent shots into the wrong spot, they circled back and hit up the right address, but luckily no one was hurt. 6 weeks after Nut was killed, the Opps slid on Woody again and tried to take him out in front of his 8-month-old daughter. While Woody was putting her in their car, he spotted a whip rolling up on them and a rifle barrel hanging out the window. He ran inside with his daughter while shooting back at the Opps, and later he told the police it was an Inglewood blood named Tay who tried to kill him. Tay got picked up for the shooting, then he ended up flipping too and even offered to wear a wire. Woody wasn't named in the YSL RICO indictment, but he was already serving time on a drug case that got him 3 years in prison. After the paperwork came out, everyone was already calling him a rat, but then in February a video leaked that showed him taking snitching to a whole new level. In a police interview that was over 3 hours long, Woody gave up all kinds of info and even offered to help him catch some of his homies in YSL who was planning a hit that night. He ain't actually name dropped Thug, but when detectives asked Woody if he was talking about Jeffrey, which is Young Thug's real name, Woody just shook his head yes. After the video came out, Charleston White gave Woody the Snitch of the Year award for the interview.
The Grape Soda Snitch Award?
Yeah.
Man, you know it gotta go to Woody.
Thug getting snitched on so hard by his homie shocked a lot of people, but the Opps might be working against him in the courtroom too. Rich homie Quan and Young Thug used to be crazy tight and dropped some of the biggest hits in Atlanta. Birdman made him the face of his Rich Gang crew, and they took over the whole city when they dropped Rich Gang The Tour Part 1. Everyone loved the project and wanted more from him. But then Rich homie Quan stepped away out of nowhere and decided to work on his solo career instead of Rich Gang with Thug. Rich homie Quan said it was all love still, but while Thug was on tour with Travis Scott, he told the crowd,
"Stupid man, that nigga tripping. That bitch homie Quan."
Quan allegedly took shots at Thug on the track You Not and rapped, "Tool on me, fuck you homie. ABC, Channel 2 homie. I done fucked around and made the news on you. Had to change shoes, waste food on them. This flashy shit ain't nothing new homie. I been me. You ain't you homie, and you ain't no Thug. Plus you ain't that nigga I thought you was." He said it wasn't a diss aimed at Thug, but a few months later, someone tried to grab Rich homie Quan during the show, and he told him he's not rocking with that gay shit like Thug.
Hey bro, get way back away from each other. Get the gay ass from my man, bro. I don't fuck with no fucking man. You back up your ass up, look up over here, look like y'all Thug. Man, don't let the fuck away from me.
A few years ago, Thug said that's the reason why they'll never be tight again, but it turns out the truth goes way deeper than that. YFN Lucci, Thug, and Rich homie Quan was all cool back in the day. Rich homie and Lucci was both managed by a dude named Fly, and Big Nut is the one who linked him up with Lucci. Rich homie Quan and Big Nut was tight too, and he fell back from Rich Gang after Nut was murdered. The rap game losing Rich homie Quan and Thug as a team was tough, but now rumors are flying that Quan flipped on his old homie too. A video came out where Quan is allegedly talking about Thug and the Big Nut situation.
Scrap, man. No door has something to do with it. We just can't prove. Right. Point blank period. I ain't no rat, I ain't telling them. I'm just being real with y'all.
YSL killing Big Nut wasn't the only reason Quan would have issues with Thug, though. In 2014, his dad was shot 4 times at a barbershop and almost killed, and Quan allegedly believes that Thug was involved with it. After the video of Rich Homie Quan talking about Thug came out, his manager Rich Homie Monte hopped in and said he wasn't snitching at all. According to him,
certain times you can talk a little bit too much or whatever, but all y'all pussy ass niggas do that. And if Quan been telling, it wouldn't have been no mistrial or it wouldn't have been no they waiting. The shit would have been gone if a nigga was telling, if a nigga had something to tell.
Rollo came up in Atlanta and has been popping off since 2015. He signed with Gucci Mane and started linking up with some of the biggest artists in the game like 21 Savage and Future. But at the same time, he still had a foot in the streets. Back in 2018, he was caught trying to traffic $1 million worth of weed on a private jet. He touched down in Atlanta and the cops raided the plane. And at that point, it was already over. Rollo was allegedly offered a 5-year plea deal in 2019 and could have been home already, but he turned it down and is still behind bars today. He was finally granted bond before his trial started in 2020, but then the judge revoked it because Rollo was allegedly moving weight from inside the jail. Then a year later, he accused his homie Donkey Wild of snitching on him and said he's the only reason he's still inside. Donkey denied flipping, and then the rumors about Rollo snitching came out. John Doe was Rollo's homie and another rapper from Atlanta. John signed to his Fan America record label and they've always been really tight. But that all changed when John hopped online and started calling Rollo a rat. John released some alleged paperwork that says, the specific information that Mr. Davis supposedly gave in the June 6th proffer against other persons, other alleged transactions, other alleged crimes. Rollo hopped online to defend himself and called it all cap, but more drama was coming. A jail call between Rollo and John leaked where John was pressing him about the paperwork. According to Rollo,
the documents that you see is from a prosecution misconduct hearing.
And that's where the situation got even messier. According to 1090 Jake, John hit him up and tried to sell the alleged paperwork. Jake didn't buy it, and John still sent some of it over though. And here's what allegedly went down. Rollo got caught red-handed with $1 million in illegal weed. He knew from the jump that he was cooked, so he tried to pay another dude $400K to take the fall for him. Apparently his story wasn't good enough for the police though, and eventually Rollo admitted to trying to pay someone off. After that ain't work, Rollo tried to offer them info on some of his other crimes, but the cops ain't care because they wasn't serious cases like murder. In a phone call with 1090 Jake, Rollo said the call with John had been edited to make him look bad.
Editing, cropping out everything and putting things in the wrong place like it's a motherfucking song. His brother has moved words from one place to one another. The brother is completely misleading people into the wrong direction.
And then DJ Academics backed him up by posting paperwork that proved Rollo only told on himself and didn't get anyone else in trouble. 21 Savage even got in touch with Rollo's lawyers to clear up the situation, and Rollo said 21 even sent him $40K to help out his family while he's serving time. Apparently the feds was offering him all kinds of deals if he would flip and start dropping names, but Rollo held it down the whole time and never told on anyone but himself. 6ix9ine came into the game throwing wild shots at everyone and acting like he wasn't afraid of anything. Even though he looked ridiculous with the rainbow hair and everything, a lot of people still took him seriously because of the dudes he ran with. The 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods was recognized by the police as one of the most violent sets in New York, and 6ix9ine was repping them heavy. 6ix9ine was never known for crashing out, but his homies in the 9 Trey put hands on Trippie Redd while they was beefing, and one of them even let off a shot at Chief Keef while he was in New York. But when 6ix9ine and some other 9 Treys got hit with the RICO case in 2018, it was the beginning of the end for his credibility in the streets. 6ix9ine pleaded guilty to 9 charges and was facing 47 years in prison, but instead he flipped on everyone and told the cops everything he knew about the 9 Treys. 6ix9ine became the most hated snitch in the rap game, but it's not like he betrayed some childhood friends. He basically paid his way into the gang to get some clout, then went back to being a civilian when the situation went left. 6ix9ine was able to bounce back after being labeled as the biggest snitch in the rap game, but this next dude's career could be over after his paperwork leaked. Sleazy World Gold popped off and racked up millions of views with the track Sleazy Flow. He came out of nowhere and had a massive spotlight on his name from the jump. Then he linked up with Lil Baby and took it even further. Sleazy really came up in the streets and spent time in jail and juvie, but last year some paperwork came out that allegedly proved he made statements over an armed robbery case. Sleazy called cap on the paperwork and said it was all fake, and when people still didn't want to believe him, he called up the dude he allegedly told on to back him up. Some people think Sleazy just threw the dude a bag so he clear up his name, but right now it's not clear what's really going on with the situation. Sleazy's homie 81 Hundo had some alleged paperwork come out at the same time, but he said his was fake too. Sleazy was popping off and working with huge artists, but even just the rumors about snitching can kill your career, especially when you're new to the game like he is. A lot of people ain't even really aware of his music yet. But this next artist shocked everyone after a video of him allegedly snitching came out. Yungeen Ace has been wrapped up in one of the deadliest and most brutal beefs in the rap game for years. His side has been going to war against Foolio's KTA crew, and both of them had lost a lot of people. Before it all really kicked off though, Ace was involved in a robbery where he and his homies went to the plug spot and tried to jack him. In December 2016, Ace and 3 of his homies pulled up to an apartment where 2 dealers lived. The dealers spotted them walking up and thought they was about to get robbed. So they shut the door and somebody in Ace's crew started letting off shots. One of the bullets went through a wall of the apartment building and hit the headrest of a chair where a baby was sitting. But luckily no one was hurt during the shooting. The dude who allegedly let off shots was Ace's homie Boosie, who eventually went down for killing Foolio's cousin Zion Brown and kicking off the entire KTA vs ATK war. The police brought Ace in for questioning about the apartment shooting in 2017, and the video of his interrogation just leaked. The cops tried to get him to talk about what went down that night, but Ace wouldn't tell him anything. That wasn't the only thing they wanted to talk about though. And the next situation is what has people calling Ace a snitch. It turns out that the cops had Boosie's phone and found a video where one of Ace's homies was running the fade with the Opps. In the middle of the fight, someone started letting off shots, and the cops thought Boosie was the one who was pulling the trigger. Ace told the detective,
they started shooting. Yeah, the other boy started shooting. Well, DeAndre shot because that's very clearly gunshots coming from his hand. No, DeAndre shoot. DeAndre didn't shoot. I promise you. The other boys, they start shooting. Yeah, they start shooting. Who got stabbed? The other boy was in the video. Who's that? My brother. Jerron? No, it's not my real brother. That's his name, John.
Foolio went live on IG and called Ace a rat, but the situation ain't that simple.
He's saying the nigga Jeremy shot. He gave the police the nigga Jeremy name saying they shot. So that's telling, right?
All Ace really did in the interview was say someone else started shooting, but didn't give the cops any name. The paperwork even confirms that he didn't help him at all and stated, Kenyatta Buller did not provide any information during the recorded interview, during which he requested an attorney. Ace went live to speak on the situation and pointed out how he didn't snitch on Jeremy.
How I'ma say he shot? And this he fighting, cuz.
He actually kind of helped the dude out by confirming he was the one throwing hands, because otherwise the cops would have tried to book him for the shooting that went down after. It looked like a pretty messy situation at first, but the paperwork proves Ace stayed solid for his own team and even the Opps too. Ace ain't the only dude from Jacksonville with snitching rumors on his name though, and this next rapper allegedly worked with the cops and got his own homie locked up. Spotemgottem blew up with the track Beatbox in 2020 and put himself on the map as the hottest new rapper in Jacksonville. He was in the streets for a long time before he made it in the industry though, and in 2021 some paperwork came out that says he flipped on his homie YNR Mookie. Yungeen Ace's homie Spin the Benz says someone sent him the paperwork after Spotm dissed their dead homie Leaky and he posted it immediately. Here's how everything happened according to the documents. One night, Spotm was at Mookie's crib when the cops showed up to search it. They found guns, a bag of weed hidden in the back of a toilet, and a bag full of bullets and pills. Mookie kept quiet the whole time, but Spotm told the cops everything. He said that Mookie freaked out when they showed up and went to his bedroom. When he came back out, he was holding something underneath a shirt, and Spotm told the cops it was probably a gun. Spotm called the paperwork fake and denied snitching on Mookie.
I been had little fame, so if I was a rat, it would have been out. Paperwork don't lie, so how the fuck it take 2 years for paperwork to appear out of nowhere?
But nobody was buying the story. Before it came out, Spotm was on his way up and was working on a song with Lil Durk. But then Durk gave back the $100K he was paid and stopped rocking with Spotm completely. Even Foolio fell back from Spotm and said Durk ain't do anything wrong since Spotm snitched. And that's when Spotm hit back and called Foolio an emotional ass nigga and claimed that Durk never sent any money back. Spotm made headlines again last year for getting into a high-speed chase on a jet ski. Then a few months ago, he was booked for trying to evade the cops in a Corvette. He crashed the whip and tried to run away, but the cops found him immediately and discovered a Glock with a switch on it inside the car. Somehow he bonded out, even though he was already on bond for 2 other felonies. He got booked again for allegedly assaulting a woman in Miami. According to her, Spotm was mad because she didn't want to have a threesome with him and her friend, so he put hands on her and then drove off. Spotm is going to be facing all kinds of jail time over these new cases, and there's a chance he'll bring some other dudes down with him. Finesse 2 times came up in the streets of Memphis and has been in and out of the system for a long time. Back in 2010, he was convicted of armed robbery and hit with an 8-year sentence, and when he came home in 2016, he hopped in the booth and started popping off in the rap game. It didn't take long for him to get a buzz on his name, but in 2017, he got booked again for shooting a woman outside of a nightclub. Finesse was trying to leave after a show, but her car was blocking the exit. He screamed at her to move out of the way, then upped a Draco pistol and shot out her back glass while she was driving away. The cops had a warrant out for him immediately, but Finesse went and performed another show in Little Rock, Arkansas, and shots started going off everywhere. 25 people got hit, but Finesse went back on the road to do a set in Alabama. That's when the feds finally caught up to him and booked him for the shooting and another gun charge. Finesse spent 4 more years in prison and only came back last year, but now he's being exposed for snitching in a way older case. 1090 Jake posted paperwork from a robbery Finesse was involved with back in 2008. According to Jake, the brother of a dude Finesse ratted on sent the documents over so Jake could expose him. In 2008, Finesse and his homies robbed the dude on his bicycle and told him to hand over his money. When the dude refused, they knocked him off the bike and started stomping him out. Then they told him they'd shoot him and took his bike. When the cops brought Finesse in for questioning, he admitted to the robbery and gave up his homies' names too. After the paperwork came out, Finesse clapped back.
That little shit I seen was, they said from 2008, you can't go get no paperwork from when a was a juvenile. Do you know how many niggas told on me as a juvenile that I can't go get the paperwork to prove it? I can't pay for it. I can't look it up. If it's a case, any case number, any case docket can be looked up.
That's when 1090 Jake exposed him again.
If you get adjudicated as an adult, it becomes adult records. That's the case number. It's the aggravated robbery in 2008. Apparently, you pled guilty to this shit. And your co-defendant's paperwork is also on here. And if you was a juvenile, but he was an adult, your paperwork is gonna be in his paperwork. And this one of the same robberies that paperwork was talking about.
The paperwork definitely wasn't a good look, but Finesse has bigger problems to worry about right now. Back in August, he was booked in Houston on an outstanding warrant, and it turns out he has 4 warrants in Tennessee for marijuana possession with intent to distribute, property theft, cocaine possession with intent to distribute, and destroying a car's serial number. Finesse already has a long rap sheet, so if he don't want to go back to prison, he might have to give up some more info to the cops. Finesse getting exposed shocks a lot of fans, but this next dude snitched on the dude who killed his homie and got him sent away for 20 years. Pierre Thomas, aka QCP, is one of the most powerful dudes in Atlanta. He started Quality Control Records with Coach K back in 2013 and started signing some of the hottest rappers in the game. They helped Amigos blow up, scored a huge win with Lil Yachty, and another one with Lil Baby. A lot of their artists came from the streets, and that's why what happened with P shocked everyone. A few months ago, paperwork leaked that proved P had worked with the cops after his homie Dennis Turner was murdered. P had been chilling at Turner's spot, which was allegedly a known trap house, when a dude named Keon showed up to buy weed. Turner was out walking his dog though, so P told Keon to come back later. Keon showed up again later when Turner was back and said he wanted to get some weed. But when Turner turned around, Keon upped the strap and started letting off shots. He killed Turner on the spot and caught P one time too. But P was able to duck out of the apartment and tell the neighbors to call the cops. P gave him a description of the dude and stayed in contact with the police for months. He was keeping his ears to the streets and feeding them any info he could find. And after P pointed Keon out in the lineup, they issued a warrant for his arrest. But before the cops could book him, P ended up finding Keon at Lenox Mall. P confronted Keon about killing Turner and chased him to his car. And that's when Keon grabbed his blower and turned the situation around on him. He chased P back into the mall and said he was gonna kill him. But P hid inside so he could call the cops. After Keon got locked up, he wrote a letter to the judge and claimed that P had actually shot him 4 times a few months before, but P was never arrested for anything like that. Keon ended up getting hit with a 20-year sentence because of P's statement. He came home early in 2019, but then just 7 months later, he was shot and killed in the streets. When P's paperwork came out, he hopped on social media to defend himself. He said that he's not in the streets and never wanted to be, and that everyone needs to stop glorifying dumb shit. At the end, QCP said that the paperwork was fake, but it seems like most people don't really care anyways. Quality Control just sold for over 300 mil, and when you got that kind of money, people will overlook pretty much anything. FBG Butta and Lil J formed their own crew after a bunch of drama went down with the street politics in Chicago. They started We the Opps and brought in a dude from out of town named Trub, and everything went wrong immediately. The 3 of them went to a dude named Jay the Kid's place to buy weed, but they got into some kind of argument with him and left. They stopped at Trub's girl's crib to pick up some straps and rolled back up to Kid's spot, and that's when bullets started flying. Trub was shot and killed, and Kid got off on self-defense. But Jay and Butta both went down for murder because the cops said they was responsible for Trub getting into the situation in the first place. Jay and Butta both got locked up over the case, but Jay spent 4 more years in prison than Butta and said his old homie flipped on him. When he came home, Jay started calling Butta
Italian beef and Pepsi. I don't know who Butta is, man. I don't know no Butta, man.
That's what you call him now?
That's what he called himself. That's what he was eating in that room, pointing them statements out and shit.
Butta clapped back and said Jay was the one snitching, but then he told DJ UTV,
I told motherfucker what I said. I told motherfucker, hey, boy, what? My homie got killed. What the fuck could I say? A nigga blicked my homie.
Butter don't think it counts since the dudes were already gone, but that's not how a lot of people see the situation. But it's not just dead people he's talked to the cops about. Eventually his full paperwork came out and proved that Butter had made statements about other people too. Butter ain't the only dude that Jay accused of being a rat though. Back in 2014, Dirk caught a gun charge and bonded out, and Jay said they only let him go because he told. There was never any paperwork to back it up though, and 1090 Jay told DJ Vlad,
Dirk, Dirk was flawless.
But wasn't that the whole story about, remember he had a shooting charge with him and King Von?
From what I understand, they misidentified Dirk, and it changed into, Von was the one that did this.
But that situation led to another rapper getting labeled as a rat. A dude named Peasy commented on a post about the case and said that Dirk for sure did this shit, and claimed his homie was right there when it went down. Boss Top saw the post and called Peasy a cop. Then Peasy clapped back,
"Kiss my motherfucking ass. Give a fuck about you niggas. I'm richer than all y'all niggas. I got more money than all you bitch ass niggas. Y'all can't fuck with me."
Making a dumb comment is one thing, but Peasy allegedly made real statements in another case too. The paperwork came out where Peasy told the cops about two dudes who tried to rob him after he left the studio. It seems like he just described the robbery and told the cops he didn't know who the dudes were, but that didn't stop people on social media from labeling him as a rat.